Good evening. Police are studying closed-circuit television pictures of the pitch invasion following Wolverhampton Wanderers' home defeat on Saturday.
A dugout and advertising hoardings were damaged by furious fans demanding changes at the top of the club. They're facing back-to-back relegations, but those with long memories may well think they've seen it all before. In 1990, after Wolves had been in receivership, lifelong fan Sir Jack Hayward stepped in and began the long road to recovery. Present owner Steve Morgan took over in 2007 and saw Wolves return to the Premier League. Then came relegation last season to the Championship. And with an almost certain drop to League One, it could all cost the club tens of millions of pounds. More now from Nick Clitheroe.
Anger and despair spilled out of the stands and onto the pitch after Saturday's defeat at Molineux. This was a season which was supposed to see Wolves challenging for a return to the Premier League. Instead, they're 90 minutes away from a second consecutive relegation. But Burnley's winner not only pushed Wolves towards League One, it also cost them millions in the process.
Wolves will be looking at a loss of around £5 million, and that'll be made up of a drop in television income, a drop in sponsorship and commercial income, and much lower ticket sales. So a much lower loss than coming out of the Premier League, but still a substantial hit in terms of the income of the football club.
Well, those fans on Saturday also expressed their anger at Steve Morgan's decision to spend £18 million on redeveloping the Stan Cullis stand. They'd much rather that money had gone on the team. Although relegation's still not official, the club's chief executive, Jez Moxey, released a statement today saying, "We understand supporters' anger and frustrations, and at the end of the season we will attempt to address the problems that have caused our downward spiral." The chairman remains committed to help put these issues right. But one of Steve Morgan's biggest problems will be the wage bill. Wolves spent around £38 million on salaries in the Premier League. That fell to around £25 million in the Championship this season, but they'll have to cut it again dramatically, as even the biggest clubs in League One only have a wage bill of around £5 to £6 million.
It's a tough division. There's lots of good teams in it. If anybody thinks Wolves, if they go down, will bounce back straight away, they need to think again. And the thing is, there's been so many bad decisions made from the top down.
The one ray of hope for supporters facing up to that raw reality is that Norwich and Southampton provide recent examples of clubs who've regained the top flight after dropping down to League One. Nick Clitheroe, BBC Midlands Today, Wolverhampton.
Well, all day you've been sending us your comments. Debbie Richardson got in touch via Facebook to say, as a season ticket holder myself, I was ashamed of the behaviour of those involved in the pitch invasion.
And Andy Davis said that the people on the pitch were hooligans and not true fans.
Peter Clark thinks it's time to give younger players a chance and clear out the dead wood.
While Joy Gardner believes Wolves should have kept Mick McCarthy as manager, and Anita Clark says that the players simply haven't performed.
Well, our sports reporter Dan Pallett joins us now. I mean, emotions obviously very, very high. There's even some pretty pointed graffiti at Molineux today.
Yeah, so pointed we couldn't tell you on air exactly what was said, but basically it was an attack on chairman and owner Steve Morgan. They just want him out. But a statement issued on the club website today, Jez Moxey, the chief executive, says Steve Morgan is fully committed to the Wolves.
So, Dan, what needs to change at Molineux?
Well, I think they need stability, first of all. I mean, it's only 14 months since Mick McCarthy was sacked. Since then, we've had a lot of changes. Now we've got an over-bloated squad. Some of them are Mick McCarthy's players, some of them are Stolar Solbakkens. So the new man, if it's going to be Dean Saunders, if they're going to back him, give him some time. Steve Froggatt, former player, mentioned today, maybe a technical director, someone in between the manager and the board, just to help him out a little bit. But, I mean, it's been a spectacular fall from grace. That stand that Nick was talking about then, that holds 7,000 people. That's bigger than some grounds in the division they're going into. Yeah. So it's a real change, and of course they're the big fish in the small pond now. The longer they're there, the more money they're going to lose, and the harder it's going to get right back to the very top in the Premier League, where many fans feel they belong.
OK, Dan, thank you.